Ladies and gentlemen, how are you? We're back for Sunday night. Right now, the Sunday night football is on, but my team isn't playing, so I don't really care. But as Angela says, the 49ers were playing today. Yeah, they played at like 3 a.m. Australian time, so really early in the morning. I woke up, checked the game, saw that the Niners were playing like crap, and went back to bed. I was like, "No, we're not gonna win this game," and I just went back to sleep. I was like, "I'm not gonna stay up for this. I'm not gonna stay up to watch them lose." So, not a great day so far. Hey, Peekaboo Cockatiel, how are you? Danny, Laurie says Cowboys look terrible today. It seemed like it was bizarro world in the NFL today. All the teams that were supposed to look good looked terrible, and all the teams that were supposed to look terrible looked good today. That's sort of what happened. Um, hey Sean, how are you? Melody? All right. All right. So we still have some things to go over from last night from Barry and Honey Part 2. I have a few more bits and pieces. Also, apparently, a bunch of people in LA reported an explosion downtown around USC, and everyone was freaking out about 20 minutes ago. And apparently, it was some sort of fireworks show. It's a fireworks show that doesn't. Here, I'll show you what it was. It was all over Twitter about half an hour ago. It was this, whatever this is. Here, I'll show you. It was at the LA Coliseum field, and they said you can only have flat shoes. Why? I don't know. Probably because they're going to play football on the field, and they didn't want anyone with high heels wrecking the grass. But it says here that they were doing some sort of fireworks show. They said it's 10,000 twinkling mini fireworks shells installed throughout the seating bowl of the Colosseum, custom developed daytime fireworks, and choreographed drones carrying pyrotechnic products will transform the Colosseum, illuminating the skies above downtown LA. The result is a visual story full of mystery and wonder, igniting the sky with images that showcase a relationship between humanity and AI. They said, "We are" suggests a present day parallel to the myth of Prometheus, theft of fire from the gods, with AI's reduced dimensionality seeming to reveal heavenly secret. I, if you don't know what that means, well, neither do I. I don't know what any of that means. It means things go boom, I think. There is a video, hold on, I can show you what people were reporting. Apparently, it was heard all over LA, and people thought it was some sort of explosion. So here, I'll show you. So there's the aftermath of it. That's what they saw. Just this, all this smoke. This is your daytime fireworks, apparently. Whatever that means. I think it just means it produced a lot of smoke. There you go. And that's what it looked like downtown. Just covered in white, smoke. So, hey Diamond Heart, how are you? On my way to recharge station up in 5 hours. Okay, have fun at your recharge station. Gambler says, hey Ping in chat, hello. Oh yeah, I support my team, but it gets a bit hard sometimes. Hey, give me 1 second, I'm gonna set up something. Hold on. All right. Where is this article? Yeah, there was a something happening down in Florida here. I saw it earlier. It says Trump was targeted in an attempted assassination, according to the FBI. So what I understand, some guy, some guy, he stuck a firearm through the chain link fence around the golf course, and the Secret Service spotted him and fired back at him. I think they killed him. I'm not sure. I haven't been following it that much. Let's see. Did they kill him? I'm just trying to see. I have no idea. They just said shots fired at near Trump at Florida golf course. Yeah, we'll go to CBS.
Tonight, the FBI is investigating a possible assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. It happened just before 2 p.m. Eastern while Trump was playing golf on his course in West Palm Beach, Florida. The former president was not injured after a Secret Service agent fired shots at a man they spotted near the course with a rifle barrel sticking out of the fence. Trump was rushed away from the scene, later returning to his Mar-a-Lago residence. The suspected gunman fled, and a man was later taken into custody after a chase. A high-powered AK-47 style rifle with a scope was later recovered at the scene. In a statement, Trump said, quote, "There were gunshots in my vicinity," adding that he is safe and well. CBS's Manuel Bojorquez is in West Palm Beach, Florida for us tonight. Manny, good evening.
Jerika, good evening. Tonight, multiple law enforcement officials have identified the suspect as Ryan Wesley Routh, a man in his late 50s who, according to police, did not resist arrest when he was taken into custody after what unfolded this afternoon.
Former President Donald Trump is safe and unharmed.
The Secret Service spotted a man with a rifle along the fence at Trump International Golf Club just after 1:30 this afternoon. The suspect was armed with an AK-47 style rifle and a scope, about 300 to 500 yards away from the former president. Investigators say he also had a GoPro camera and backpacks containing ceramic tile. Secret Service agents fired at least 4 shots at the suspect, but it's unclear whether that person fired back. A witness saw a man running out of the bushes and jump into a black SUV. That witness took a photo of the suspect's car and license plate. About 30 minutes north of the golf club, police stopped an SUV with the same license plate number. Police took the witness up there to confirm they had the right person.
The Secret Service did exactly what they should have done.
Police say the suspect is in custody tonight as they work to find a motive. Trump had returned to Florida this weekend from a West Coast swing that included a Friday night rally in Las Vegas and a Utah fundraiser. Roughly 2 months ago, Trump was shot during an assassination attempt at a rally in Pennsylvania, and a bullet grazed his ear. The White House says both President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the Democratic presidential nominee, have been briefed on the situation here in Florida and will receive updates as the investigation continues. Jerika?
Manuel, thank you.
So there you go. There's a little update to that. Yeah, I thought it said ceramic tile, but okay. Let's get into what we actually want to talk about. Hold on a second. All right. So I wanted to continue from last night. We spoke a little bit about, well, who might have killed Barry and Honey, and I gave you one example last night, but there's a lot of stuff in the background to this particular set of murders. When you're dealing with billionaires, you're talking about a lot of money. You're talking about, this is not like lending $20 to a friend. There's people around these people who, when they died, their lifestyle was significantly different afterwards, not in a good way, in a bad way. And one of them was Honey's sister. And I'm going to talk to you about this in a second. All right. So here's a little bit I'll read from here. They're saying after the murders, it didn't take long for ties between the Shermans and the Shetmans. Is that how you pronounce the name? I hope it is, because it sounds like a Shetland pony. The Shetmans to come apart. Mary was one of the first people notified after the murders, and she flew from Miami to Toronto in a chartered plane. She was distraught and she was yelling at one of Honey's closest friends when she landed before other people could calm her down. By the time the funeral had come around, it was about a week later, emotions had cooled, and in front of 6,000 mourners gathered in a convention center, Jonathan, the son of Honey and Barry, announced the Honey and Barry Foundation of Giving. And in that statement, he said, "We would like our Aunt Mary to help guide this foundation in a way that best honors our parents. But according to sources behind the scene, the Sherman children were growing weary of their relatives. It wasn't just that Mary had billed the Shermans for the chartered jet. She was claiming that her sister had promised her hundreds of millions of dollars, as well as jewelry and real estate." It quotes here, she says, "Honey wanted me and my children to get everything of hers." Mary wrote that in one email, and that was in Kevin's book. It also says she knew the value of her entire estate would be minimal compared to what Honey's children would inherit, and none of them would need it financially. And we actually have to go back to what we said yesterday. The Honey's will was never located, even though some people said that she had been visiting a lawyer to make a will or update a will, but on discovery of their bodies and finding them, no longer around, they went searching for, next will and testament, that type of thing. Nothing. The only person's one they could find was Barry's. So these claims that Mary makes that, she was supposed to get millions and millions of dollars in the event of the death of her sister. It's interesting because Mary had been basically living off Honey and Barry's money for a long, long time. And I'll tell you here, they're saying, here, let me go. Where's this article I had? Sorry, that was from my notes, but we've also got the other article here. If I can find it. Sorry, my links are playing up today. Yeah. All right, go down here. Yeah. They're saying here, with Barry busy, Honey often took her sister Mary on family trips to Miami, where they owned a condo, or to Disney World, which Mary and Honey considered their happy place. Honey's 4 children and Mary's 3 children grew close on the trips, and over time the family's finances became entangled. In the early 2000s, Mary's husband, Alan, ran a mail-order drug company for Barry, based in the Bahamas. In the Bahamas, they faced allegations of unfair and deceptive practices. And then a jewelry firm Barry propped up with $32 million in loans until it collapsed and led to bankruptcy in 2014. As for Mary, the Shermans supported her as well, paying her to decorate homes, lending her money to buy property in Toronto and Florida, and according to allegations in court documents, giving her about $10,000 a month in spending money. Every unhappy family may be unhappy in its own way, but the Shermans and the Shetmans were unhappy in very similar ways. There's a photo of Honey and Barry. Although Barry and Honey were penny pinchers, Barry had no problem providing for his children or extended family. He loaned Jonathan, his son, $125 million to start a self-storage business and a marina, and supported all his children with loans and property once they reached adulthood, giving them virtually anything they asked for, perhaps to make up for how little he had been around when they were young. Honey didn't approve. She wanted the kids to become independent, which we talked about last night too. And they were saying here, although Mary and her husband leaned on the Shermans financially, Mary shared her sister's fears that her own children were entitled and scolded her son Noah in private correspondence for taking advantage of the Shermans. She had a particularly fractious relationship with Noah, who, like Jonathan, is gay. In 2020, the Shetman family lawsuit involving a trust that Honey set up for them, Noah claimed that when he was in high school, Mary tried to persuade him to go to conversion therapy and seemed to disapprove of his husband, who lived with Noah in the family home. And yet Noah ignored his mother's pleas to be more careful about asking the Shermans for money. A few months before the Shermans were killed, he emailed Honey and asked if he could use her Saks credit card to buy a few things. And Honey wrote back, "Of course, my pleasure." When Mary found out that Noah had used the card to buy Christian Louboutin, their shoes, I'm guessing, and Brunello Sunelli, I have no idea who these designers are, accessories, she was upset and threatened to remove him from the family trust that the Shermans had set up for them, probably Honey. Everyone in the house shares the feeling that you would throw us under the bus for the chance to get the Shermans and their money, Mary wrote to Noah a year after the murders. We each get that feeling individually. Since you don't trust me, there is no reason for me to trust you. According to court documents, she allegedly had him removed as a beneficiary from her real estate profile, and the two haven't spoken since 2019. Now, I'm not saying that any of these people are suspects. I'm just saying that there's large amounts of money moving around a lot of different people. There could be many people who would have a motive to hurt Barry and Honey if they somehow found themselves locked out of the giving, the giving graces of Barry and Honey. One of the more interesting parts of the insight into Honey's sister Mary is that after the funeral, and they even announced in the funeral that they were going to get Mary to run this new charitable foundation that they had set up to honor their parents. Not long after the funeral, the kids cut Mary out of everything. They stopped financially supporting her, her family, her children, everything, to the point that Mary and her husband could no longer afford anything, and they were actually thinking of taking common people jobs to be able to get by, like being a tour guide or working as a Uber driver, that type of thing. That's a big downfall from jet setting and taking private airplanes everywhere and flying to Florida to play golf, 3 times a year with Honey. And to go to that, to have to go working a 9 to 5 job. How many more people in that ring of the family got got cut out once they died or had issues even before they died? It's like a giant spider web of money. Hey Utah, how are you? Rachel says this case just has to be someone in the family. You would think so. What is going on? Oh, it's your birthday? Yeah, that's right. You told us it was your birthday this week. You're going to turn 62. Am I right? I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure it was 60 something. And I hope you're having a great birthday. I really do. So, yeah, I wanted to bring this up because I find it very interesting. So, you have the person that was brought up in the Billionaire Murders documentary. That is the son, Jonathan, who was, talked about quite a lot. You have the other children of Barry and Honey. A few of them think their brother is involved in their parents' demise. And then you look here that her sister's family were basically living off the shared wealth between them and drawing money out to fund their own lifestyle, not just direct, but also their children would email Honey and Barry asking, "Hey, can we use your credit card? Hey, can we get some money? Can I get a check?" That type of thing. But it's a it's very interesting. And then after they had died, Mary had been bothering Jonathan and the others with these weird requests like, "Oh, Honey said that I could get everything that she owned, and you should make that happen." And I will show you down here what Jonathan said. Where is it? Nope, that's not it. Let me see if it's up here. Yeah. Jonathan wrote to Mary saying, basically, because there was no will, he said, "I cannot willy-nilly give my sister's inheritance simply because Mary claims it is hers." And he wrote that to his other sisters, basically saying, "There's no will to say we have to give her anything, so why would we give her anything? If she's just asking for all this money and she has nothing to back it up that mum ever said this was gonna happen in the event that they died." And it says here, "Meanwhile, Mary kept telling people she had to get to Disney World. It was like a salmon swimming upstream." According to the Toronto Star, only later would she realize Disney World was the last place the whole family, the Shermans and the Shetmans, had been together, and all their children had been together. She billed the Shermans for that trip as well. The Sherman children cut Mary off shortly after the funeral. Without access to the Sherman fortune, Mary told Donovan, that's Kevin Donovan from the Star, her family was struggling. She was thinking of becoming a tour guide, and her husband Alan was driving an Uber to make ends meet. I find that very interesting. Very interesting that um, the heirs to the Barry and Honey fortune have no interest in taking care of their mother's sister, who they must know that their mum was financially supporting for her entire life. There's been a few weird things like this, including at Apotex, there was the right-hand man of Barry, and a year after the death and discovery of their murder, Jonathan went to Apotex and fired the guy basically running the company after his father's death on the anniversary of the murders. He walked in, fired the guy who worked there for like 45 years, and just told him to pack his stuff and get out. And they said, well, he was dead weight. We didn't need him anymore. So you start adding some of these weird events together. They cut out they cut out their mother's sister and her family. They fire one of their father's right-hand mans at Apotex, fire him, get rid of him too. And from what I understand, they're not the only people that have been cut out after the death of Barry and Honey. A lot of other people um, survived on the support from them, including things like charities. there were certain charities that Barry and Honey were very close to, and they were their biggest benefactors. So if they didn't get their check from Barry and Honey each year, they basically couldn't operate and they couldn't support the people they did. Once they were killed and their bodies were discovered, that money tap turned off. The heirs to the fortune stopped supplying the money. So it's there's some weird things that happened after their deaths as well. Then they set up this charitable arm, the Barry and Honey Foundation for Giving. But from some things I've read, some of the charities that were originally like the biggest ones that Barry and Honey worked with, they were not included in the new foundation. So odd, very odd. Danny, thank you. I appreciate it. Yes, happy birthday STL cards. I appreciate it. Let me see if I was right. Did she tell me? You asked your dog if he could stop chewing on his squeaky ball because you're listening to the show. That's I don't know if he'll do that for you. I'm not sure he will. Hey, Marilyn Landis, how are you? Sienna, good to see you. Yeah. Angela says, I don't think Honey would cut her sister off if she depended on her as a travel buddy. Yeah, I don't think if Honey was alive today that she would have cut her sister off, considering that she'd been supporting her sister and their family for 40 years. Like, I don't think they even had like trust accounts made up for that family. But apparently, in the death of Barry and Honey, there was no new money going into those trust accounts after their death. Let's see. I think 62 was right. I hope STL Cards has a great birthday. It looks like the score in Houston, Chicago hasn't moved in the last half an hour. It's still Houston is 16, Chicago is 10. It's not really going anywhere right now. They're just throwing a ball around. So I don't know what you guys think about this and these monetary issues with Barry and Honey, but I would say being cut out of this type of an amount of money, or the if you were the killer, maybe you didn't like that your parents, or Barry and Honey, if you're not related to them, were out there spending your inheritance or what you perceived you might get should they die was getting depleted over time because your parents or your friend, Barry and Honey, kept giving it away to people and just spending it. And you're like, wow, when they do eventually pass away, there's going to be nothing left for me and my family and my children. I don't know if that's where this motivation to kill them has come from, but if this entire thing is not money related, I would be very surprised because nothing was taken from their home. There was valuables lying around that property on the night of the murders, and nothing was taken, nothing was really disturbed. And what would be the motivation? It's got to be money. Jojo says, for the record, I'm not inheriting anything. Are you sure? Were you on Barry and Honey's list to inherit something? Do we need to investigate you? We can next week on the show, part 5, the investigation into Jojo. That's next week, next Monday. Be back for 60 minutes with Ping and the investigation into JoJo. That'd be an interesting show for sure. So down here it also says today the rifts within the family extend far beyond the Sherman children and Aunt Mary, who, along with her children, declined to speak to the paper. Jonathan no longer talks to his three sisters, and in December, two of Mary's children, the twins Matthew and Rebecca, sued the Sherman children and other administrators of a trust worth more than $400 million. The trust the suit alleges was established in 2016 to benefit not just the Sherman children, but also the children of Mary and Sandra Florence, Barry's sister. So there were supposed to be people who were taken care of in the event of their death. It has just three trustees. One of them, Jonathan. The second one, Brad, the ex-husband of one of the Sherman daughters, and Alex Glassenberg, a decades-long confidant of Barry, who runs the Sherman holding company Sherfam. According to the lawsuit, the trustees have breached their fiduciary duties by refusing to meet with the Shetman twins or share details of their trust accounts. This is, at least in part, because Jonathan is no longer speaking with the other trustees. Lawyers for Jonathan, Brad, and Alex declined to comment on the matter. Shortly after the murders, dissatisfied with the Toronto police investigation, the Sherman children hired one of Toronto's most famous criminal defense attorneys, Brian Greenspan, who has represented people like Naomi Campbell, Justin Bieber, other people. He built an all star team of retired detectives to conduct their own investigation, and they turned over their findings to Toronto police in December 2019. A spokesperson for the police declined to comment. As this remains an active and ongoing investigation, they won't make a comment. Back then, during the Stars attempts, spearheaded by Kevin Donovan, to unseal search warrant documents, the police said in court that the Barry Sherman estate documents were embedded in its homicide investigation. 4 years later, only one police detective remains on the case with no new leads. According to a source with knowledge of the investigation, they said, I think this one is in the drawer, meaning it has basically been shelved. There is no movement. They've put it back on the shelf. They're not actively working on it right now. Similarly, the December lawsuit is pending and unlikely to be resolved in the near future. In 2019, 50 Old Colony Road was torn down. I showed you some of the footage of that last night. In the letter asking the city for permission to demolish it, the Sherman children said the home brought back too many awful memories. A year later, a neighbor bought the lot and changed the address to 48 Old Colony Road because who wants an address associated with an unsolved murder? Isn't it interesting that a neighbor bought the property but changed the address? All right, let's see. Rachel says, never have family as a trustee. Speaking from experience on my grandfather's estate. It's a good point, right? Give me 1 second, ladies and gents. Sorry, there was a problem with the computer, and I was trying to fix it before we continued. Rachel says this has to be about money, right, everyone? Maybe somebody hired a hitman. Do you think it's a hitman, or do you think someone went and did it themselves? How would they know the layout of the home? How would they know when Barry and Honey would be around? How would they know just intricate workings of their lives? Which door might be open? How to get in the home? This and that. I mean, you can coach a person for murder for hire, but it would take a long time. Let's have a look. Jojo says, so they hired an attorney who hired a private investigator. So any info was all with an attorney protecting the kids as his clients. Right. That is true. What happened is the investigation via Toronto Police Service and the private one done with the children who hired their own lawyer, and then he hired a bunch of ex-homicide detectives. Those two investigations ran parallel for a period of time. Later on, once the Toronto Police Service announced it as a double homicide, the children dropped their private investigation and handed over anything that they were able to locate to the Toronto Police Service. So there was only sort of running while the police were investigating the murder S-word theory. They had their own investigation ongoing that was targeted towards a double homicide. But once the officials changed their ideas on the theory to a double homicide, there was no need to have both investigations running side by side. So they merged into one. The police got all the information that the private investigators were able to find, and the other people dropped off the case. Hey, RX Girl, how are you? Good to see you. RX Girl says, I just found this channel and I already love it. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. It is very kind of you. Glad to have you here. Yeah, everyone will welcome you. There you go. You know, Jojo says, wear big shoes like in the video. That video, like I'm pretty sure Sean, who used to work with security cameras, said that video had to be taken at night due to the way it looks on the camera. Hold on, we can have a look at it. Yeah, let's have a look at the video we played last night for this.
At the
Yeah, I'm not going to let him speak. I'm just going to take it to the CCTV. Yeah. So this is the footage. You see this person walking towards Barry and Honey's place. Apparently later on, they do have a video of him walking back the other way. So do you believe this is nighttime, or do you think it's just a bad camera? And it's snowing, there's a lot of reflectivity from the snow. So is it nighttime or is it daytime? Like maybe not daytime, maybe like evening, like, 6 p.m., 7 p.m., something like that. Which, if it's snowing in Canada, that probably means it's winter. It would probably be dark by then. So maybe it is quite low light. Although you see here, on the road here, there are lights, a lot of lights. Here too, over down here, you can see light on the ground here, and then light coming off this property here. Why would the lights be on if it wasn't dark? You see there's light coming off a street lamp post right there. You can see the lamp post there. So, and it's reflecting off the ground. Then this property here has quite a lot of lights coming off it. Same with this one and the one over here too. They have quite a lot of lights on. For at the daytime, you might not see it like this. So maybe it is quite late. Oh, that was kind of a good photo. How do we get back to that? Oh, you get a couple of funny little looks at him just for a frame or two. What do you think? Do you think this is an older person or it's so hard to tell? Do you think it's a younger person, older person? If only the camera was a little bit better and we could see the details in the face. The fact that we can't see any details in the head of the person makes it a lot difficult because they just look like a black silhouette. That's all they look like. They look like a shadow. What I want to know is why have they never released the other video of him walking back the other way? They say they do have that. They say they've seen this person go one direction, hang around, they think, at Barry and Honey's property for a few hours, and then he goes back the other way. And he's picked up on the same camera. Seems black and white. Do you think it is black and white? Oh, I see blue. If you look here, there's blue and white Christmas tree lights here. You got to remember this was middle December, just a week or so before Christmas, and you can see blue here. If this was black and white, there would be no blue. There would be no blue coloring, and there is yellow here on this fire hydrant. You get like a almost cream color or like a yellow right here. I think if this was black and white, and the trees are brown, like a tree brown, not black. I don't know if it's black and white as such. You definitely get blue up in this top left corner. Same over here. Just there's a blue set of lights here. So it's probably because what makes it look black and white is the darkness of the road and then the contrast with the snow and the trees and him. But I don't know. I don't think it is. I think it's probably just a bad camera. Yeah, let's see if I can. Does he look at the camera right there or is he looking away? Hard to tell. You can see here, see how like there's a ghosting image here? You can see, you can almost see like an outline of him behind him. It says to me that the camera is very poor because you're getting this kind of ghosting going on. It can't keep up with the tracking of him walking through the frame. So it tells me that it's not a very good camera. It's only 2017. We had HD cameras. We had night vision cameras that were quite good quality too at that point in time. There you go. Him stopped there. Yeah, let me read what you guys have to say about the video. Rachel says, Rex girl, true. Watch how he lifts his foot in a kind of hitch. He does. RX girl says he moves his head as he walks. It's very strange. Almost like he's scanning for cameras, maybe. And when he sees one, he turns away. Maybe something like that, or what he thinks is a camera. I don't know why they hid the timestamp. No idea. Here, for people who haven't seen the video, it's only a minute long, and you can hear what the police have to say.
At the outside of this investigation, we seized a very large amount of security video footage. Some of these videos were from locations in the area of Old Colony Road. Numerous individuals were found on the video in the neighborhood. We've also obtained judicial authorizations to collect data from nearby cell phone towers and cross-reference that with the physical locations of individuals on the videos. We've also conducted numerous canvasses of the neighborhood to identify individuals on the videos. We have been able to eliminate the vast majority of people captured on the video. We are left with one individual whom we have been unable to identify. Through our investigation, we have been unable to determine what this individual's purpose was in the neighborhood. The timing of this individual's appearance is in line with when we believe the murders took place. Based on this evidence, we're classifying this individual as a suspect. Though there is a lack of detail in features of this individual, we believe that further information from the public could assist us in making an identification. I would ask that you pay particular attention to the gait or the stride or walk style that this person has on the video. We are not able to provide you with any certainty the person's age, weight, or skin color. However, through photogrammetry performed, we have been able to determine that the suspect in this video is standing between 5'6" and 3/4 and 5'9.5" inches.
Last night as well, so there you go. If you haven't seen that video from the Toronto Police Service, there you go. We've watched it a couple of times. RX Girl says, almost like he's trying to look like he's not up to something. Maybe, that could be true. One thing I do want to bring up, last night we touched on it briefly, about there could have been a 911 call that Honey tried to make from the home the night she was attacked. RXL, if you click the $, it should pop up with a membership thing. If not, hold on. If you're on an Apple device, you may have to click this link. If I can find it. We should put it in the bot, and I don't know why I don't. Here. If you put this in your... If you're on an Apple device, you have to click this link. For some reason, Apple devices don't have the $, for some devices. Why? I don't know. Don't own an Apple device, so I don't know. Short stride, right side. Maybe he's got a limp or some sort of weird gait. Yay! Utah caught up. Sean says, what's his button? One thing I want to touch on, last night we talked about the car that came, I think it was there in the morning, right? They said it was a dark 4-door sedan or hatchbacky type car, and they said the car is seen traveling and parking in front of the house. They're not sure if it's relevant. They're not sure if it's there was suggestion it could have been an undercover cop that had come in the morning to check out why there was a random 911 call from the house that either didn't connect, didn't go through, got disconnected, something like that, and was never connected to an operator. And then I've heard that there is video that hasn't been released to the public. We've seen that one with a man, but there's another one that apparently shows a man and a woman nearby at around 8:20 p.m. that night entering the Sherman home. and it's a picture of a woman wearing a long coat and a man who is tall. I can't even verify any of this, but I have heard that there is video of this, not public. It's not out in the public. But if there was a woman involved, who would that be? Just having a look here. So police have said recently in the last couple of years, they believe Honey and Barry were targeted. Whatever that means. It normally means that it's not a random killing. It's not a burglar who broke in and then decided to take it too far. It's someone who deliberately went to that home to hurt Barry and Honey for some motive, probably monetary issues. And so a lot of people reckon Honey was the main target. I don't believe that. I believe it was both of them. Whoever did this knew that Honey and Barry would be there around a certain time, but wasn't quite sure. And that's why Honey was attacked first, and then Barry was attacked slightly after. And I still think, after reviewing everything again last night, checking through the book, the 4-part documentary, and some other online sources, I still think it went down that Honey was attacked, maybe even got away, made it to that powder room. Then there was a struggle because she had a phone. She tried to dial 911. She tried to lock herself in that powder room. It didn't work. She was eventually overcome by her assailant. That's why on her face, she does have that slight bruise on one side of her face and some blood around her nose and mouth and things like that from being strangled. But I still think her attack was a lot more physical than Barry's was. The other difference is, I think I've mentioned it before, they did have a personal trainer that came in and trained Barry and Honey. And I said last night, Barry's workout was very minimal. It was almost like, hey, I get employed by this rich family to make them seem like they're fit and healthy, and Barry's not into the whole exercise thing, so I'm gonna make him lift dumbbells for a little while, and then I'm gonna make him do some jumping jacks, and maybe I'll get him to run from one end of the pool area to the other, and give him just a little bit of a sweat in the morning. But Honey's workout was, like, more severe. She was doing, like, push-ups, and she was doing sit-ups, and she was doing, like, burpees and chin-ups and things like that. She wanted to be a fit lady, and that plays into me that her attack was a lot more physical because she was able to, for a moment, fight off her attacker, at least momentarily, and that's why she got a bit more, busted up, and that's why she shows more physical, um, damage to her face and things like that because she was more trouble to overcome for the assailant, as where I think Barry went down quite easily, unfortunately. RX Girl became a member. Hey, thank you so much. I so much appreciate that. It is very kind of you. I feel bad now because I was going to give away some memberships. I don't know if we have enough people though. You need at least 5 people that don't have a membership, and I don't think we have enough. When we do, I will give out some more. We get 10 every month we can give away for free. We just need more people that don't have one. Hey Nanalana, how are you? Rachel says the people most to gain were the children, so I have to go there. Was it all the children? Was it one child? Was it a couple of them working together? Yuta says she may have scratched the assailant's face. If they have DNA under her fingernails, I wonder if we would have heard about it by now. And if they have that, has it already been tested against her own children, associates, her sister, her sister's children, other people who might be involved. You know, there's even an ex-boyfriend, I think, of Jonathan's who had some dealings with the family at one point as well. Cakesboo, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. Hey, Burnt Popcorn. It's nice of you to be here. All right. Let me see. I'm just trying to see if we have anything else here. They've got a couple of other photos of inside their house. This was Barry and Honey's kitchen, apparently. So you can see a bit of a dining table with a, you know, something here you can put food on and spin it around. Got a bit of a kitchen here. Got an island in the middle, a, you know, cooking island. A fridge there. Couple of fridges. Is that 2 different fridges on either side? You got one here and one here. Could they both be refrigerators? Possibly. Because these are cupboards. Why would they be silver if they weren't fridges? Interesting. I like to see these photos from inside their home. You can see there's a lot of different little. The house was huge. It was multiple stories. I think 3 stories. One was below ground, 2 were above ground. So you had like a main floor. You could go down to the basement, or from the main floor you could go up one. So that was sort of like that. You could go down. If you went down, you ended up in the pool area, which is where the bodies were found. And there was also a parking garage at some point in the property too that could fit 10 vehicles in it. So it says here, police photos of Barry and Honey Sherman's crime scene suggest she was attacked after she entered their home on Old Colony Road, not carjacked and taken into the house as was initially speculated in police documents. That sounds about right. A photo snapped by a police forensics officer shortly after the pair's bodies were discovered shows 2 gift bags placed neatly on the kitchen table, along with a handbag. And that's true. Is that her handbag? There is a handbag right there in the seat. Is that a mobile phone too? What is that? Or is that like a air conditioner thermostat remote? I don't know what that is, but there is 2 gift bags. What company is that? I cannot read it. Read what it says. Something cup or I don't know. The French cup? I don't know. I can barely make it out. I'm not sure what it says, but yeah, 2 gift bags. It says here, investigative sources say this suggests she had time to get in the house, put her belongings down in an orderly fashion before the killers pounced on her. Other interior photos show Barry's car was found in their underground garage and the door closed. A previous police photo made public as part of the court process showed the driver's side door open, but it appears that was taken while police were inspecting the inside of the vehicle for clues. The significance is that the photo suggests Barry also had time to enter the home unmolested. The Star had previously reported that his BlackBerry, some real estate documents, and his leather driving gloves were found in the hallway immediately outside the underground garage. The billionaire Barry, the founder of genetic drug giant Apotex, and his wife Honey were found murdered 2 days later on Friday, December the 15th. Their case remains unsolved. For almost 7 years, the Star has been investigating the Sherman case. The Star's initial investigation focused on the police theory that it was a murder S-word, that Barry killed Honey and then took his own life. After the Star published forensic information suggesting it was a double murder, the Toronto police held a press conference confirming the findings. Since then, the Star's investigation has focused on a series of police mistakes made in the investigation. The Star has been arguing in court that thousands of pages of police documents detailing the investigation should be unsealed. To date, roughly half of the 3,300 pages have been unsealed. This is an ongoing process, and the Star returns to court later this year to argue the matter in front of a new judge, David Porter. The former one, Justice Leslie Pringle, the judge who previously presided over the case, has now retired. The case has been going on for so long that the previous judge, who has been dealing with the media and the police, like there's been a lawsuit going on asking for investigative documents because it's been taking so long. So the newspaper is arguing it's in the public interest to be able to have these documents to see what the hell the police have been doing since 2017. And it's taken so long to go through the court process, not find the killer, just to try get the documents, that the previous judge retired. The judge was doing it so long, they finally retired. They said today the Star can present a detailed examination of the movements of the Shermans just before their deaths, based on photos, documents, and interviews contained both in police records and additional information the Star has obtained outside the court process. Okay, let's have a look. So, on the morning of December 13th, 2017, there was a flurry of activity in the Sherman home. They said it was listed for sale at the cost of $6.9 million. There was an offer on the table for $1 million less, but Barry was insistent the property was at least worth what he was asking for. Two painters, a housekeeper, and the Sherman's agent were in the house preparing for showings. A friend and personal trainer arrived at 8:30 a.m. in the morning. Barry worked out for 1 hour in an alcove off the master bedroom. Honey's slot was between 9:30 and 11:30 a.m. See, she had a much more intense workout. Barry only went for 1 hour, and from what I understand, his was very low impact, just enough for him to work up a sweat and have a shower. Honey's one went for 2 hours, and she was put through the grinder. Like, she was like, get down and give me 20. I want 50 sit-ups. Like, you have to give me some burpees, and she was like really into it. Barry not so much, but he still wanted to be a little healthier, so he did a little one, only 1 hour in the morning. And it says Barry left for work at Apotex. He came back into the alcove where Honey was stretching with the trainer. He showed off a belt he was wearing for the first time. Honey had purchased it from a discount rack at Canadian Tire, and both belts had sat unused in the bedroom for more than a month. Barry headed off to the office as Honey continued her workout. Then at 11:30 a.m., a masseuse arrived for a 2-hour massage. After that, she headed out to do some shopping. It was the second day of Hanukkah, and she had to buy gifts for people, including for the couple's new grandchild, born to her daughter Alexandra and then her then husband Brad. I have a photo of that child if you'd like to see it, sitting on Barry's lap. I think it's this photo here. It is. This is Barry right here. A few days, it's December 7th. They were murdered on December 13th, about 5 days before. And this is the baby that they just had in the family. And that is Barry holding the young granddaughter. One of the last photos taken of Barry with any of his new family members. It's a nice photo, right? Lifestyles of the rich or the famous. Jojo says their house was 12,000 square feet. It was huge. It was a big place. Sean says, could it be someone who would benefit from Jonathan becoming richer? Maybe. Let's see. Is it Baby Gap? Is that what it is? Ah, you guys know the branding better than I do. Melody said, I would have expected a bigger kitchen. They might have more than one kitchen. That might be like a little tiny one for breakfast or whatever. They might have a really big one upstairs or downstairs or something like that. Ah, that's what it is. It's because they're Jewish, they have to have the 2 fridges for the different types of food. Okay, I get it. I'm not Jewish, nor do I eat, kosher food, so that is a whole new world for me, and even though I live in one of the biggest, Jewish enclaves in Australia, which is true, where I live is literally the largest area where there's a lot of Jewish people. We have Jewish bakeries, and we sell Jewish kosher food down here in this particular area where I live. At the normal supermarket, you can get kosher products. If you went any further out, you wouldn't be able to get it. But just this area, you can get it at the supermarkets down here, um, which is interesting. I've never been in a Jewish person's home, so I've never seen it. You watch the Fifth. I love the Fifth Estate. It's almost like Canadian Dateline. It's like Canadian Dateline. That's what it is. No, no, it's not. It's not Bondi. No, the biggest Jewish enclave in Australia is Elstonwick. It's the largest one in Australia, from what I understand. Nah, it's not. You think it's Bryden? It's not Bryden. It's Elstonwick. Yuda says, I watched The Fifth Estate, Kerry Winter, his cousins. We talked about that last night. We talked about Kerry last night and the deal with Empire Chemicals or Empire Companies or whatever they were called. Kerry Winter was the son of Lewis Winter, and him and his wife died very, very early on in the children's lives, and he owned Empire later on. Barry, being quite a young man at the time, purchased Empire for $250,000 in cash and $250 in liability debt. So the company had 250 grand of debt on the books, and Barry took that on as part of the buying process. So it was $500,000 that he bought the company was. Oh, Balaclava. Yeah, all around that area. Elstonwick, Balaclava, where, all around there, Bentley, all around there. So yeah, okay. There's a nice photo. I like that photo of Barry. What do I got here? Oh, that's a different photo. That's for later. Okay. What else did they say? They said before Honey left, she gave Sheila Stanley, her assistant, the next few days off. Sheila was preparing to go on a vacation with her family. Workers continued preparing the house for showings of the property. Barry had told the family's agent that he would bring home a copy of the home inspection report marked up by Barry showing specific features he wanted to point out to prospective buyers. That's what they found. So they found his gloves, that paperwork that he had filled in, dropped on the floor. And yeah, they didn't know why it was there. They said at Apotex, Barry had several routine meetings with other people. His longtime second in command, Jack Kay. Jack Kay is the guy I was telling you about that Jonathan fired 1 year to the day on the anniversary of his parents' murders. He walked into Apotex and fired that guy after like 40 years of faithful service to his father. It says here, Jack Kay and his wife had left for New York earlier that day to attend a concert with tickets Honey encouraged Jack to buy at a charity event earlier that year. At 5 p.m., 3 home builders arrived for a meeting at Apotex to discuss plans for their $30 million Forest Hill mansion Barry and Honey were building not too far from their daughter and grandchild, and close to where Barry had grown up. Honey arrived shortly after 5 p.m. and the meeting lasted until 6:15 p.m. Honey then left in her champagne-colored Lexus SUV, and the builders left in their own vehicle. Barry, an unabashed workaholic, stayed at the office. One of the builders later told police that Barry, who usually stayed at Apotex until 10 p.m., made a comment to the builders in the meeting that he had a reason to leave early that day. The builder told police he couldn't recall Barry's reason for wanting to leave early. Honey called a friend at 6:21 p.m. While she was driving, the friend's husband had an operation, and Honey was checking to see how it went. It was a completely normal conversation, the woman told the Star. Honey drove from Apotex to Bayview Village Mall, a drive that would take less than 30 minutes. At the mall, she did some shopping and visited the CIBC ATM. She arrived home at Old Colony Road about 8 p.m. Her normal routine was to park her Lexus on the right side of the house, leaving room for Barry to drive down the ramp to the underground garage. Sometimes Barry parked on the half-circle driveways. Sometimes he took the car underground. That evening, she parked in her normal spot. Crime scene photos obtained by the Star show a number of objects on the kitchen table. In the first room she would normally have entered after coming into the home from the side entrance. Apparently, the Shermans rarely use their front door. Among those items, a white gift bag from Baby Gap. There you go. And a slightly creased gift bag from the Bay. The Bay? What is the Bay? The Bay at Yorkdale Mall would have been on her route home from Apotex. What the hell is the Bay? I don't know. The Bay. Hudson Bay? At Yorkdale Mall? Oh, it's like a department store. Okay. Oh, they just call it the Bay, but it's called Hudson Bay. Okay, I get you. I get you. There you go. That is the department store there. Okay, let's keep going. They said also on a chair besides the table is what appears to be her handbag. Sources have told them that inside the handbag, police found her wallet containing over $7,500 in cash. See, if this was a robbery, why would someone not take that money? That's a lot of money. If you were just a random burglar, you would take that. That's like a payday and a half. You could buy all the drugs you wanted. You would be high as a kite in about an hour. You'd be in heaven. You'd be like, this is the greatest day of my life. I robbed the best people. They had a lot of money. You'd be like thinking you hit the jackpot. They said it's possible this was cash Honey planned to use as holiday gifts for many staff who work for the Shermans. That sounds about right. It's a sort of a tradition to tip your workers around Christmas. So they would like either leave a little envelope for them with their name on it, or they would personally hand it to them along with their normal paycheck and say, this is like a little extra for your work all year. Thank you for your service. And, we really appreciate it. Have a great Christmas and that type of thing. The police photo also shows a water purifier filter on the table, a basket of snacks and another chair, a bag of newspapers, including an edition of the Toronto Star. Honey's friends say she was in the habit of collecting newspapers to read when she had time, typically on trips. A copy of the book The Human Body is also on the table, along with a document with a check attached. The fact that the recently purchased gift bags are seen placed neatly on the table with no signs of a violent struggle led investigators to believe that Honey had time to enter her home, put down her belongings before she was attacked. Someone could have been waiting in there. The fact that Barry and Honey were both not there for a lot of the evening, maybe someone snuck in about 10 minutes before Honey got home and was hiding somewhere around the home, knowing her routine. So she would come in, go to that kitchen area, drop off her handbag, put down her shopping, and then do something they knew that she would do, and then attacked her. Meanwhile, at 8:23 p.m., Barry sent a routine work email from his desktop computer at Apotex and headed home, arriving around 9 p.m. And there's his vehicle in the garage, too. It looks very dusty by the time they took a photo of it. That's a Mustang, right? It looks like a Mustang. Police photos of the underground garage shows Barry's parked Ford Mustang convertible. Yeah, it is a Mustang. The real estate agent who discovered the bodies on Friday morning said that she had found the home inspection report, Barry's driving gloves scattered on the floor of the hallway just outside the door leading from the garage to the home. Barry's BlackBerry was also there, according to sources. Investigators have concluded from this that Barry parked his car, took his belongings, and walked out of the garage into the corridor where he was attacked, spilling his belongings onto the floor. So, whoever did this must have attacked Honey between 8:23 and around 9 p.m. when Barry got home. They had around 30 something minutes to attack Honey, put her away where Barry couldn't see her for a bit, attack Barry when he got home in the hallway leading from the garage to the home, and then started to make preparations to move their bodies from where they lay to the bottom floor of the home in the pool area. And that's where they were discovered. So maybe that's why they put the ropes around their necks. Not the rope, the belts. Because they're so heavy, maybe they had to be dragged, but you would think they would have found drag marks throughout the home. How did they get the bodies from that area near the garage and where Honey was near the kitchen with one person? That is a lot of weight. 2 dead bodies to move around. That is a lot of weight for one person to move onto another floor, down to the bottom floor in the pool area. It's a lot of weight, dead weight to move around. This is what they looked like when they were discovered. We showed this last night. This is how they were found by the real estate worker the next day. And this is that pool area. So they were found right where this photo was taken. If you look down from this position, that's where they were found. And this is underneath the home. It's one level lower. So very interesting. Possibly 2 assailants. Well, that fits with the man and the woman wearing a long coat that some people say entered the home. Angela says a sheet and pull the body on the sheet. Could be. Or use the belts that they took. Rachel says, do we know if they found blood anywhere else in the home? Don't know. Don't know. Do know that there is drag marks on the tiles in the pool area. They did find that. I don't know if I remember hearing anything about sheets. I don't know if I've heard anything about that. Snapcracker Bob says an awful death and an awful discovery. I agree. Yeah, me too. Rich people worth billions of dollars didn't have 900 cameras throughout their home. I'm very surprised about that. Rich people were doing that in the 80s, and they had tape deck ones that had tapes you had to change over every day. Yeah, I feel like you'd have to have a second person. Otherwise, there's no way. You would have to spend hours slowly pushing them through the home on your own. Like they're so heavy. If you've ever heard of people trying to move dead weight, which is an awful word, but that's exactly what it is. It is, you'd be so tired just trying to get one person down to that pool area. Billionaires, but no cameras. I know, it is odd. Angela says no, but it's a good way to move someone. Okay. Yeah, I don't know a lot about the break-in, but that was not surprising considering they left doors on their home open. They were apparently Honey often left the side door to the property just unlocked. She would just leave it unlocked all the time. She was known for that too, which is a weird thing for someone who had a break-in. This is interesting. Honey's phone still had power when it was discovered days later. When an investigator pressed the side button to wake the phone up, her last known phone call to a friend whose husband had the operation could be seen. A police photo was taken of this screen. As previously described by the Star, police photos of the basement swimming pool room show Honey and Barry's bodies positioned at the far end of the pool, the furthest point from the entrance to the pool room. Both are held in an upright position by leather belts. Barry's is held up with the belt he was wearing that morning. It is unclear where the belt around Honey's neck came from. It does not appear to be a man's belt. Interesting. So only Barry's belt is a male belt, and that Honey's belt could be a female belt. Was she wearing a belt that day? Could be. They say the photos which look down on the length of the pool show Barry's feet neatly crossed at the ankles with his glasses perched normally on his nose. In the images, his body bears no outward signs of violence. Honey's body does. She has a cut to her right cheek, and there is dried and mottled blood. Based on the mottling, investigators believe a plastic bag may have been put over her head at some point and then removed. Maybe to stop blood being transferred through the home as they got her down to the pool area. They didn't want to leave blood evidence throughout the home showing, how they did it. It's less evidence. They said there is also a bloody smudge mark on the railing near where the belt around Honey is tied, and what appears to be a blood mark on one of Barry's pant legs. Investigators theorize that Honey was put in position first, and then Barry was lifted over her by the killers, getting blood possibly from the injury to Honey on the pants legs in the process. In the search warrant documents, police have said that nothing forensically learned at the crime scene has helped them with the investigation. It's almost like a ghost did it. It really is. I've never heard of a murder where the forensic evidence was just like, there's nothing here. Double homicide, bodies moved from one level of the home to another, but we have no forensic evidence. None. Hey, Blue Moon. How are you, my sweet friend? Blue Moon says maybe they used a wheelbarrow or a cart. Maybe. I mean, it would be a good way to stop being like tired and exhausted halfway through. Hold on, I need a drink. One moment. All right. STL card says Ping, you would make a good detective. Yes, but only for, you know, Special Victims Unit on NBC at 9 o'clock, because I could only play one on TV. That's it. I don't think I could be a real life one. Yeah, hi, Blue Moon. How are you, my friend? Gambler says they could have had a gun and forced him to walk downstairs. Honey could have been tied up by the time Barry. I definitely think Honey was already subdued and possibly dead by the time Barry got home. Was she down in the pool area already? Maybe. And then they were like, okay, all we have to do is take care of Barry now. That's it. Evidence was lost because it was treated as a murder S word. Yes, I do believe that. It took them so long to believe that this was a double homicide that I do agree that I think they lost evidence and they maybe didn't check other parts of the home because they just thought it all happened in the pool room. I agree. No forced entry. There was no forced entry. Nope. Melody says, "Why do you think the killer wanted them near the pool?" I think to hide them because the killer may have known that the next day there was going to be painters, builders, real estate workers, all these different people. Because apparently the next day cleaners came in. There was a painter who came in as well that was painting things, readying the home for sale. So there was a cleaner, a painter. Was it a painter? No, sorry. A cleaner and a person who watered the plants in the home. Then a real estate agent came over to show the house to a couple of prospective buyers. So you had like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different people about to show up in the morning to the property. So maybe they thought putting them in the pool room would be the hardest place to find them. The other thing is, what if a neighbor heard the commotion and called the police? And long after the killers had left, what if they were shining lights into windows and they went, "Oh my God, look, a body," and then broke in and were like, "Oh, we found them." And that means the hunt for the killers starts much earlier. But if they put them in the pool room, it looks like the house is empty. It looks like there's no one home or everyone's asleep or whatever. You can't just shine a light in and see them dead on the floor. But if you put them down below in the pool room, you can't find anything just by looking in the front door or whatever. The assailants definitely came in through an unlocked door, I'm pretty sure. Either that or Honey let them in, but I don't think so. I think they came in via the door that Honey left frequently unlocked. Possibly that side door that is mentioned. Rachel said, "It's sad if things were not checked in the rest of the house because they made assumptions early." I agree. And I think that had they said this was a double homicide earlier on, we would have got a faster, like maybe a faster investigation. Burnt Popcorn became a member. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. An RX girl and Mr. Dan Yee gave out a membership. That's very kind of you, Mr. Dan Yee. Rachel said, yeah, I agree. It is very sad. All right, what else do we have left here? Give me 1 second, people. All right. Yuda says, "But it's so bizarre. Surely there was a room down there that was hardly used. Why was it staged the way it was?" Don't know if I'm making sense. So the pool room was not used very often. They didn't even swim in that pool. According to what I've read, that pool had a cover on it, and the water in the pool was like green. It hadn't been cleaned in a very long time. It had like they never used it. They weren't swimming type of people, and it was very gross. Apparently, it had like a lot of algae and stuff growing in it. Um, so that bottom room where the pool was located, they just never used it. It was a room that was hardly ever accessed or done anything with. And I wonder if maybe the killer knew that, and that's why they put them down there to hide them for as long as possible knowing that the next day there was probably going to be people in the home. They could have put him in that powder room too. The powder room where they found Honey's phone. That powder room was never used either. That's why they said it was so weird to find Honey's phone there, because she never used that room, according to friends. According to friends and family, it wasn't a room she ever went into, she ever used. It was like storage. She just kind of put stuff in there that she didn't want to see. So to find her phone in there was very odd. All right. I think we're almost done. As it says here, do we do that? Yes, we did that. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm just trying to see if I can find anything else for us. Nope, we read that one. Okay, so if we wanted to wrap this up, if we had a set of people who might be responsible for this, where do you think we are on this? This would have to be where I'm thinking, right? I don't know. Number one, a close family member, someone who knows their routine, someone who can, know what's going on in their life, like who might be there the next day. If you did go there that night, would you be disturbed at all? Would you have to be careful because other people would show up? So that would be one. Two, maybe an Apotex employee that felt like they were cheated. They did have a criminal investigation, I think it was criminal or some sort of investigation going on against a former employee who was caught stealing company secrets and then selling them to other companies. So they had this issue going on. So maybe it was them. Maybe they wanted the case to go away. So maybe an Apotex employee that had either been fired or had been caught stealing from Barry. Yeah, it could be an Apotex, either former or current. I don't think it's got anything to do with Barry Sherman being part of a murder S word. I think that is been well and truly ruled out now. There's no way Barry could bind his own hands, bind Honey's wrist together as well as his, and then take out the both of them. That doesn't make any sense. Could be other family members, not in the immediate circle, someone further out, like that is feeling hard done by. And he's been working in the pharmaceutical industry since the early 70s, late 60s. Could he have pissed off someone along the way who was holding a grudge and finally decided now was the time to settle the score? It could be. STL card says, was the son married? Yes. So here is a photo of the son here, Jonathan. This is Jonathan and his husband, Fred. I think this is right. Yes, Fred and John. So there you go, hiking in the Yukon back in 2014. So there you go. Jonathan's had a couple of different partners over his time, including one that his dad was sort of close with. Yes, the son, other family members, employees of Apotex, ex-employees of Apotex, old industry people, extended family. that may be getting cut out or felt like they weren't getting the like the money they thought they should have. I guess you could, like the cousins, they would be part of the extended family part. The cousins who brought the lawsuit against Barry, their father owned Empire, and then when their parents died, Barry bought Empire and then sold it eventually, and then made Apotex. So there you go. I want to ask you all this in closing tonight. I want to ask you this question. Do you think we're ever going to get a resolution to this particular case? And do you think we're ever going to find out exactly what went down that night in December in 2017 at the property? Is this sort of going to be like the Long Island serial killer, and one day we're all going to wake up and there's going to be like an arrest announced and someone charged over it? I wonder if that's where we're going to go to. Melody says yes. You know, that comment saying that the case right now is on a shelf, it doesn't inspire a lot of hope. It says to me that maybe they're not currently working on it, which is not a good thing. All right. All right, my ladies and gentlemen, I think that is it. Who won the football game? Who won the football game? Let's have a look. Oh, the Houston Texans won 19-13. Chicago Bears lost. They're now 1-1. So are the Niners. And the Houston Texans are 2-0 to start the year. Stupid 49ers losing that game. Maybe one day, but not sure it'll be explained in full. Danny Mitchell says, I say yes. Rachel says, at this point, I think it'll be solved at some point. Maybe someone will come forward. You know, there's still like a $45 million reward open to the public of anyone who can come forward and provide information on who killed Barry and Honey. That money has been put up by the family, the children. Anyone who has information that can help solve this particular case, $45 million is up for grabs if you want it. If you're out there and you know about it, tell them what you know. You could be $45 million richer tomorrow. It's a huge reward. Yep. STL card says dumb Shanahan. Oh, it was a bad game, my friend. It was a bad game. Retired Aaron says, thanks, Ping. Good night, everyone. Yep, $45 million. So I think some of it's put up by Jonathan. Some of it has been put up by the other children. So it's a lot of money. Could change your life. Danny did it? Okay. Danny says, in my opinion, the cops probably know a lot more. The cops seem to think it's got something to do with I don't know the word, but basically the estate. So the estate and the will of Barry and Honey, they think it's entangled in that. It's got something to do with the money, the family, what would happen if they died, that type of thing. Yeah, it is really odd that nothing was missing. The fact that Honey had over $7,500 in cash in her purse and they didn't take it. Jojo says we could pay to waterboard the son. No, I can't say that. Hey, I can't say those type of things. Hey, I love you all very much. I come here every night and do true crime, and I couldn't ask for a better group of people to come and spend a couple of hours with every day and talk about true crime. And I am very, very lucky to have everyone. So more than thankful for everyone's help and help in supporting the channel. If you haven't already, you should subscribe and like this video and let someone know about the channel. Jojo says, no, but I can. All right. Hey, I'll see you tomorrow. We'll be back at tomorrow. Tomorrow night we'll be back at 9 p.m. Eastern for your Monday night. So I will catch you then for an early show, and then we'll have a late show as well tomorrow night at midnight. So until then, peace out everyone. Good night. Have a good sleep and get ready for Monday because tomorrow is Monday. And I will see you tomorrow. Hey, you never know. Maybe we'll do a part 4 at some point. If we get some new information, we might do a part 4 for Barry and Honey. Hey, good night, everyone. See you later. Thanks for being here tonight. Good night. No, you have to go. You can't stay here. I'm going to end the stream. You know, it's like a pub. Once I say it's over, you guys have to leave. I mean, there's going to be no show on anymore. It's going to be like a blank screen and it's going to reboot and the chat's going to kick you out and things like that. You have to go. All right. Bye. Bye. See you later. You have to leave. Bye.